Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into, well, a really compelling personal story. It's a first-person account, reads just like a memoir, packed with raw emotion, really sharp observations. Our mission here is to help you navigate all the layers in the story, pull out those key insights, and really understand what's going on beneath the surface, beyond appearances and those unspoken family rules.
And it starts to set a hook, doesn't it? This idea of a family, a hidden life, deep secrets.
Exactly. And how one person with this amazing ability to kind of read the unsaid starts to unravel, well, decades of hidden truths and some really deep pain. Let's dive right in.
Okay. So what hits you immediately is our protagonist, Georgia, and her. Almost like a superpower, her capacity to perceive things.
Right.
She's not just listening, she's seeing through everything, understanding true feelings from micro-expressions, body language, like stripping the world down to its sinew and bones, as she puts it.
And she uses this ability on everyone, including her family, which means her relationships are just drawn incredibly sharply, like you see it so clearly.
Totally.
She has this really immediate, almost gut connection to Oliver, her older brother. She calls him just Carter. Simple. But then completely opposite, there's this huge distance with Marianne, her older sister. And George, she really doesn't pull any punches, does she?
No, not at all. She describes Marianne as having traits of what she thinks is undiagnosed narcissistic personality disorder. But also just, frankly, in George's words, a bitch.
Wow, okay.
And look, that's George's experience, her perception of Marianne's behavior, but it paints this incredibly vivid picture right away. Like extreme self-absorption, this relentless need for control. It just defines their whole dynamic.
Yeah.
Georgia actively avoids Marianne's calls. She knows it just eats at Marianne, because Marianne cannot not be in control of a situation. Georgia can almost see her reaction to the ignored calls.
Right, the jaw jutting forward. So, okay, we've got this really clear them and us thing going on. Marianne and Tennyson on one side, Georgia and Oliver on the other.
Exactly.
But then Sam Penny, who's Oliver's sponsor, he throws in this fascinating little curveball.
Yeah, this is interesting.
He figures out that all the siblings are named after poets. Tennyson, obviously Alfred Tennyson. Oliver is Marianne is Marianne Moore. And Georgia herself, Lord Byron, because of a Cambridge connection. But the parents just flat out deny this. What's that about?
Well, that denial, right from the start, it's not just a little quirk. It feels foundational, It shows how much this family chooses to ignore or just suppress about its own history, its own identity.
Sets a pattern.
It totally signals this pervasive pattern of secrets, suppression, and we see how that plays out later. It has huge consequences. Oliver's early struggles are a good example, actually.
Yeah.
He started drinking really young, like around 14, and eventually ends up in L.A. The story calls it a pile of sugar daddies and alcohol.
Yeah, quite the phrase.
So the parents send him away to this all-male military boarding school down in Georgia. Probably meant as punishment, straighten him out.
But it doesn't quite work like that, does it? The narrative takes this really interesting turn because for Oliver, who's a gay teenager just desperate for acceptance, it ends up being this kind of unintended liberation. He finds friends who kind of got it. It was way better than what he was getting at home. It was weirdly a safe place for him.
And Georgia goes through something parallel,
Yeah.
different kind of forced exile. She gets sent away, too, around the same time, age 15. Off to Cawthorne Grammar School in Bath in the UK.
And the family's reason, or the stated reason anyway, was that she was supposedly sleeping with Marianne's boyfriend, this guy Beckett Lane.
Right.
But again, just like Oliver, this really painful thing. Being expelled from home, it paradoxically becomes her safe haven too. She says it straight out. Felt safer in Bath than in O'Katy. Happier too.
Think about that. What does it say about home when being sent away under those circumstances feels like a relief? Feels safer.
Yeah, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? Suggests a really dysfunctional, maybe even toxic environment that the parents just couldn't or wouldn't see or deal with.
Exactly. And all this, it just sets the stage perfectly for the raw truths that start coming out when the father dies.
Oh, the funeral. Yeah. That whole sequence is just a masterclass in suppressed emotion.
Yeah.
Oliver and Georgia find out about their dad's death in these incredibly abrupt, almost cold ways. Oliver's mid-sex. Georgia just blurts it out over the phone. And then the family gathers in. Katie and the mother. She's all buzzy and busy, right? Just performing grief to avoid actually feeling it.
She cannot be weak in front of people. That's the key phrase.
Right. And Marianne naturally is trying to control everything with her new realtor husband, Jason, sort of tagging along.
And this is when Sam Penny walks in, Oliver's AA sponsor. And he's immediately presented as this completely different energy, calm, insightful, deeply empathetic.
And Georgia, with her ability to read people, she feels this instant, almost electric pull towards him.
Right. She clocks everything. His dilated pupils, genuine smile, how his feet are pointed towards her, all signs of genuine interest, genuine connection.
And we learn a bit about Sam, too. His coffee shop's back in California. It's originally Australian. And this really traumatic event in his past, a car accident when he was 16.
Killed his mother.
Yeah.
And that's what led him to sobriety himself. So he gets it. He understands pain, understands healing from the inside out.
Which makes him such a grounding presence in all this chaos. But then comes the first will reading. Desmond, the lawyer, reads it out. And it just shatters any sense of normal family stuff.
Absolutely pivotal moment. The bequests are so specific. Mom gets the house, 10% of the company. Violet gets a painting. Tennyson gets the other 90% of the air company and a 1963 Shelby Cobra.
Nice car. But Oliver gets basically nothing. Zip.
Almost nothing, yeah. And Georgia inherits this seemingly random piece of land. Lot 42 of Adam Shore Drive in Moulton Burr, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Sounds like nothing.
Right, just an empty lot. But the real bombshell, the thing that just sets off fireworks, is that the bulk of the estate, the Link House everyone loves, plus like $4.7 million, it goes to someone they've never heard of, Alexis Beauchesne.
Imagine hearing that. Just boom. Instant anger, confusion, especially for Marianne and Jason because they're completely cut out. Nothing for them.
Yeah, you can just feel the storm brewing, can't you? And nobody's actually talking about the dad being dead. They keep talking about his preferences like he's just in the next room. Avoiding the grief, avoiding the massive elephant in this room.
Total avoidance.
Oh.
Which, of course, means it's going to explode.
And it does. At the bar, Marianne does something unbelievably cruel. She deliberately brings Beckett Lane, her old high school boyfriend, the one who
Georgia's abuser.
Yeah. She brings him there intentionally. And Georgia, just pushed way too far, finally snaps. She accuses Marianne right there in public, says Marianne prostituted her 14-year-old sister for popularity.
Just devastating. Yeah. The reactions are so raw. Tennyson actually steps up, gets angry, protective of Georgia. Oliver's just standing there completely shocked, bewildered.
And Sam, he doesn't hesitate, just steps in, physically removes Beckett. Takes control in that moment.
Yeah, which forces everything out into the open. The depth of Georgia's trauma. Beckett Lane raped her for a year, starting when she was just 14.
She talks about experiencing tonic immobility, that freeze response, and the narrative mentions gray rape, the spectrum of harm, trying to capture that complexity.
But the really, truly gut-wrenching part of it all is Marianne's role.
Knowing complicity, she knew. She saw it. And did, as Georgia puts it, fuck all to help.
And the parents. This idea of selective awareness. They kind of knew something was wrong with both Georgia and Oliver, their struggles, but they just chose not to see it fully, ignored it.
Creating this environment where the kids' pain wasn't just ignored, it was sort of normalized and validated. What does that do to someone long-term, that kind of parental inaction?
Oh, it's profound. It's not just passive neglect, right? It's almost like an active thing. It teaches the kids their pain doesn't matter, isn't real, so they internalize it. Bury it.
Which leads us right back to Oliver.
Exactly. This whole bar confrontation, plus seeing Georgia connect with Sam, which he perceives as her stealing Sam.
Yeah.
It triggers a massive relapse for him.
He gets so angry, so resentful. Starts lashing out at Georgia, goes right back to drinking.
And Sam, even though he's developing this thing with Georgia, trying to support him through the relapse. It's complicated.
But then, Tennyson, we see this surprising shift in him. He was always kind of lined up with Marianne before.
Right, the them side.
Yeah, but now he starts showing real concern for Georgia, protectiveness. He even covers for her and Sam, helps them get time alone. It's a huge change, breaks that old dynamic.
It really does. This whole sequence just shows how suppressed trauma, when it finally blows up, can just tear through a family. But, kind of weirdly, it can also show you who your real allies are.
Yeah.
And maybe even spark some real growth in unexpected people, like Tennyson. It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the cost of silence in families, and how sometimes the biggest disruption leads to the biggest breakthrough.
Absolutely. Speaking of breakthroughs, Georgia, she gets fixated on that weird inheritance, Lot 42, Adam Shore Drive. That empty plot of land. She needs to know why.
Right. Her investigator mind kicks in. And this quest, this digging into the meaning of Lot 42, It leads her straight to Alexis Bouchain.
And the truth Alexis reveals is just staggering.
Completely changes everything. Alexis Bouchain was the father's lover, his male lover. The father, this guy who seems so conventional, was actually a poetry major from Cornell living a completely secret life.
So the empty plot,
Yeah.
it wasn't an insult? It wasn't meaningless?
Not at all. It was a code. A deliberate message from the father to Georgia, designed to lead her to Alexis, the one person who could give her the answers, the understanding the father couldn't give her himself.
Wow. So how does this rewrite the father's love for Georgia? Because sending her away felt like rejection, abandonment.
Alexis offers this incredible perspective. He suggests the father sent Georgia away partly out of fear, a subconscious fear that Georgia was like him, maybe gay or just different, reflecting his own hidden self, but also
out of a genuine desire for her to thrive, to get out of that small, suffocating town, to become this force that he actually admired in her. It suggests his love wasn't absent. It was just expressed in a really different coded language.
It completely flips the script, doesn't it? What felt like abandonment was actually this complex, maybe misguided, but ultimately loving act of protection.
Yeah.
From a father trapped in his own secrets.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, how often do we misread people, misread actions in families just because we don't understand the language they're forced to speak?
Such a powerful idea. Okay, but the drama isn't over. There's a second will reading.
Right, because the first one was contested, basically. And this time, guess who inherits the $4.7 million that initially went to Alexis?
Oliver.
He gets the big inheritance, but there's a huge catch.
What? Always a catch in this family.
It has to stay sober for 8 days straight to actually access the money.
Oh, man. That just pours gasoline on the fire for Oliver, right? Intensifies his anger. And you just know Marianne is going to use this. Predictably, she swoops right in. Encourages him to basically forget sobriety, just get the money. Leveraging his addiction, his vulnerability, all for her own potential gain. You know, classic manipulation.
While all this family chaos is swirling, we're also seeing this relationship between Georgia and Sam deepen. It feels really solid, really steadfast.
It does. It's built on, genuine understanding, deep conversations. Sam provides this incredible sense of safety, acceptance for Georgia. She notes how he is fully aware of and thusly alive in his weaknesses. He's not pretending.
That makes him real, relatable, especially for her.
Yeah. And their first intimate moments, they're described with this feeling of security connection. Georgia feels supremely and surprisingly unlonely. That's huge for her.
So they decide to make it official. Together.
Yeah, and Sam's all in. He plans to move to London to be with her. Full commitment.
Which is such a stark contrast to Oliver's situation. He's still struggling so much, can't seem to process his pain, keeps lashing out at Georgia.
And tragically, keeps turning back to Marianne for comfort, who just keeps using him. Georgia sees it so clearly. She realizes Oliver thinks he needs Marianne because he and Georgia are fighting. He's essentially selling his soul to Marianne.
It's heartbreaking watching those old destructive family patterns just keep playing out.
But Sam draws a line, a really firm one. Marianne tries to weaponize Sam's past, calls him a cokehead to undermine him.
How does Sam react?
He just owns it, acknowledges it, no shame. But then he fiercely defends Georgia, tells Marianne straight up, I love her more and differently, and you can't talk to her like that.
Wow.
It sets this really clear boundary. His priority is Georgia's well-being, not placating Oliver or playing Marianne's games anymore.
So that really paves the way for Georgia's path forward, doesn't it? She's facing her past. She's understanding all these incredible complexities in her family. And she's choosing to embrace this new, healthier relationship with Sam. He's like her nightlight, she says, helping her navigate the darkness, find her strength.
Yeah. And acknowledging that real healing, it means facing those incredibly difficult truths. And sometimes it means drawing some really difficult lines, even with people you love.
So looking back on this whole deep dive, it's been quite a journey. Through these fractured dynamics, hidden trauma, these shocking revelations about the father's secret life.
And ultimately, the forging of these new connections, built on honesty, acceptance. What really stands out is this central theme. You have to acknowledge the hidden truths. Whether you figure it out through sharp insight like Georgia or through brave, messy confessions, it's the only way to break those cycles of pain, to actually connect authentically.
Yeah, it really is. And as we wrap up, it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, I think. In families where pain just gets normalized, where truth is constantly suppressed, is the act of seeking out and speaking those uncomfortable truths, even if it shatters the peace, actually the deepest form of love, the only real path to liberation. Something for you to think about, maybe in the context of your own life's hidden stories.